What is up, my nerd familia, and welcome to Games y Más, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of board games, video games, and a little bit of pop culture. I'm your host, Vic, and I would like to be the first to welcome you here to our little corner of nerdom. Whether you are a diehard anime fan, a manga reader, a film buff, to a casual, intermediate, cozy board gamer, to an aspiring esports star in the video game world, or to everything in between, this podcast is for you. We would love to engage with you guys, share some stories within the nerd familia, so come join us. If anything that we've said resonates with you, hey, join our wacky adventures here at Games y Más. We would love to have you here. So, with all that being said, pull up a chair, grab some dice, y acompáñame a jugar. Okay, Travis, let us continue our journey here. Resident Evil playback or rerun, I guess you could say, or how's the title say?
Revisit, rerun, replay.
Yeah, there you go. Re-something, re-enjoy, I guess you can say, or as you can say in the title of our episodes, press any button, as you say in a lot of these games that say press any button. And so we're very excited to talk here. This is your first time joining us here. This is our fifth game, right? Is it fifth game or no? 0, 1, 2, 3. Fourth game. This is our fourth game. We started from 0. We're doing a kind of like we said, a replay of the Resident Evil series games, playing each one individually. Some in the future we might pair up and make it a one episode here, but we're diving deep into the world of Resident Evil, games that are beloved by many, games that define the horror genre, and games that defined, I can say, for me personally, and you might agree as well, Travis, if you define our gaming experience, life, and redefined how horror is. And so very excited. We're looking at Resident Evil 3 original and the remake. Last episode we did Resident Evil 2 original and remake. I had a blast talking about that one. That one was so much fun. I mean, that one was such a great one. There's thank you for those that are watching that have been commenting and engaging with us with that. We have some fans out there that are loving our re-talks. And so, I feel like throughout this whole episode, I'm going to try to figure out how to add more on everything.
Right.
Here. So very excited. Again, collabing here. We got Travis from Operation Game Night Podcast joining us here. Games y Más here. We're doing a collab again, going through these series. I'm enjoying every moment. After we end these episodes, dude, I just get so giddy and I'm like just jumping straight to the next game, and I'm just like jump in. I'm like, I'm take notes. I got to take notes, man, because Travis, I can't wait till me and Travis, we share this experience together. So I'm very excited. Thank you for joining here, Travis, on this talk here.
It's been tons of fun.
It's been amazing, dude. You're giving me purpose to play video games, bro. You give me purpose because I've been kind of on a slump with video games where, games haven't been hitting as much. I've been kind of, coasting on video games, if I'm being honest. But, playing Resident Evil game gives me purpose, gives me drive. Now I'm actually paying attention. I'm actually writing down lore. I'm learning stuff that you're giving me with the history lessons here. And so, I'm very excited. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for the first time and returning guests. We're back here again with some Resident Evil. We're going to dive into it here because I think we got a lot of, content to talk about, a lot of stuff to go over. It's our first time. I mean, not our first time, but it's, I've forgotten a lot about this game. Which I guess we can dive into that one with your experience before we get into the history of the making of this game. Travis, your experience on this game,
So I have less experience with Resident Evil 3 than I do some of the other ones. I had played the original maybe like at a friend's house back in the day, but never sat down and played it all the way through. I remember running around the streets of Raccoon City. Mm-hmm. I remember the Nemesis kind of crashing around and running into him a lot. And then I bought the remake not when it came out, but a couple of years later. I still had a backlog of games. Life got busy, whatever. And I remember I booted it up around Halloween time 1 year since it came out, and I got not that far in it. Like my save was only like maybe an hour in.
Oh wow.
And so I kind of dropped off of it, bounced off of it. Maybe other games were coming out or whatever.
For sure.
But this was really fun to come back to these two, and especially the remake. I've got We'll talk about it, but like I'm
Yeah,
excited to get into it.
I'm very excited too. Yeah, I'm the same way. I forgot completely everything about this game. I'm with you there. When I first came out, I've only played like the very beginning, like maybe running around the streets of Raccoon City and
Sure.
being like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna stop playing. So I ended up stop playing. I know there was a Nemesis. I didn't know anything about Nemesis, but I just knew there was a Nemesis, which is funny because my introduction to like more of the Nemesis, like character was through Resident Evil 2, the movie.
Okay,
So
nice.
that's where I saw more of Nemesis rather than Resident Evil 3. I just more
Yeah.
saw through the second one, and I was like, oh snap, it's the guy from the first one. They transferred him over and they did experiments on him, stuff like that. Which we could obviously talk about the whole Resident Evil movie franchise on
Sure.
on another episode.
We
But
should.
yeah, we should. We actually should, because I've only seen up to like the third one. I haven't seen after past that. So
And if we could take a pause,
yeah.
this past week, the new trailer for the new Resident Evil movie coming out just released, and it looks awesome. There's people, people are very passionate about this series, and there's so many videos out there breaking it down frame by frame. Oh my goodness, like, did you notice that when he broke into this house, there's keys hanging there? Those might play a role just like in the games, and the theme of doors, and like the director of the movie even went so far. He did a breakdown, and he went so far as to model like the pots that the green plants are in the house after the game. So it sounds like we're in good hands.
I 100% agree. Which is funny because when we released Resident Evil 2, our re-talk about it, that's when the trailer released. I was like, oh wow, what happened? It just happened to be in coincidence of that. But hey, let's talk about Resident Evil 3 time frame here. Let's talk about it. Again. Not. I'm very excited. I'm not super well deep into this game. After playing it twice and doing the remake, I feel like I'm like deep in it now. I'm ready to talk about it. But before we get into it, Travis, you want to give us a little bit the spiel of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis and the continuation of this Capcom legacy that they've been creating here?
Yes, let's review.
Nice.
Resident Evil 2 releases January 1998. I want you to pay attention to the timelines here because they're super important.
Okay.
January 1998. Resident Evil 2 releases, and it had a couple of subsequent releases on Nintendo and stuff. We talked about that last time.
Right.
Sold about 5 million copies off the bat.
Okay.
Capcom wants to continue on this Resident Evil legacy, and there's kind of this split between like, should we do some mainline games versus non-canonical games, side stories? And so a year later, not even a year, September of 1998. So 9 months later, 8 months later, they are releasing images and new video for the new Resident Evil to come out on Dreamcast, which is to be Resident Evil 3.
Really?
And it's the images that they release has Claire as the main protagonist running away from a indefeatable, indestructible Nemesis.
Claire? Really?
Claire. Yeah. And so there's kind of this split where Capcom is being a little bit petty, and PlayStation says they want Resident Evil to live on the PlayStation. We want that to be the flagship or one of the flagship titles for the PlayStation.
Right.
But Capcom, being a little bit petty, they didn't get like the development kits for the PlayStation 2.
Really?
And so they're like, maybe we take our talents to South Beach, and they start talking with Sega about launching the next Resident Evil mainline game on the Dreamcast.
Oh.
They're like, hey, Sega, if you can prove to us that you can sell 1 million of these consoles, like, out the gate, then maybe you can have a mainline game. It gets very complicated, but they end up scrapping what would be this next Resident Evil. It was they kind of Frankenstein pulled pieces of it and turned it into what would be Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. They reused a lot of assets from Resident Evil 2. They decided to make the change from Claire to Jill. And they bring on director Kazuhiro Aoyama.
Okay.
And then the producer is still Shinji Mikami. Been involved since the beginning. He's the one that started it all.
Yeah.
And Shinji is a little petty about this one. He is a firm believer that Code Veronica is actually the third mainline Resident Evil game. What we know as Resident Evil Nemesis, he calls it Resident Evil 1.9 because it kind of occurs right before 2 starts. It's between 1 and 2. It's
Yep.
kind of this weird side story. So he calls it 1.9. He's probably a little petty about it, but
Yeah.
yeah, we see a lot of the same aspects that were under development. And that first one with Claire was originally entitled Code Veronica.
Okay.
And so,
Interesting.
yeah, it's kind of a little bit complicated, but they end up splitting off. They reuse a whole bunch of assets and ideas.
Right.
And yeah, that's where we got Nemesis. And because they cut it down and made it kind of this side story, rushed to get it out, the stuff that originally, they saw as like a downfall of this game, reused assets, similar and or same zombie animations, a condensed story, a pared down map, that really became like its strong suit in the long run. Kind of in retrospect, that's what makes this game shine, is that it's a much more condensed experience. It feels like you are rushing to get out of this doomed city, and you are, frantically sprinting through these alleyways to get to the end, and it's a much shorter experience to its benefit. I know some people have their own opinions on what should and should not be in all these games, and this one will always be divisive. But
sure.
it sold, almost 5 million copies off the bat.
Yeah.
Also, while this is going on, and while they're going back and forth about Code Veronica versus RE3, they tried to port the original Resident Evil to the Game Boy Color.
Oh, really?
And they were 90% of the way there, and they scrapped it. Scrapped it. Yeah, they were 90% of the way complete, and they scrapped development, and they almost had it up and running, but there was something with like, just the processing power of the Game Boy Color, and they couldn't get it all the way there.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty interesting. There's 1,000 other side stories around Resident Evil, and it does this weird thing where it kind of loops back on itself over time. We're seeing all these remakes come out. I don't want to talk about this, like the background of this one, too much, because it's very complicated and it's very like interwoven with itself, and it's hard to keep all the characters and the key personnel straight. But you know that they borrowed assets from the old Resident Evil 2. They threw it into Resident Evil 3. They made it a more condensed experience, and that's what we got today is Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
All right, man. Wow. That's crazy. It's going to come up for Game Boy Color. Was that the first one? They were trying to make the first one on the Game Boy Color, or the third
first one? Yeah. Resident Evil 1 was supposed to come out on the Game Boy Color.
Wow. I wonder how that would have worked, because there was like not really like 3D aspect of it. It might have been like a 2D scroller kind of game. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird period for them too, because they're rapidly expanding. Shinji Mikami is very much against moving up to the next level or the next generation of consoles. He believes like we should keep this on PlayStation 1 only, maybe Nintendo 64, because as we move up in console generation, the development gets more complex, it takes longer, it's more expensive, and so he's like, we're good where we're at, let's just stay here. And they just kind of expanded this franchise laterally and vertically to say, let's re-release Resident Evil 1 with this updated graphics and new content, let's redo this, let's do that, and they started like kind of really expanding aggressively into these other markets. And that whole instance with the Dreamcast was just one of many instances where Capcom was hungry to put all their games on all the consoles.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I mean, foreshadowing, because we do get it with Code Veronica.
Yep.
So that's future there, but interesting. Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. That was interesting. Yeah, it shouldn't be called Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. It should be called Resident Evil 3 Pettiness, pettiness or something. Because man, they didn't want to. I guess. Yeah, with Shinji, I guess he was like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it,
That's
so
right.
I guess he wanted to keep it straight. But okay, interesting. Wow. Okay. So
I do have one more bit of
hit me with it.
Trivia.
Okay.
So the script writer Yasuhisa Kawamura, he says, what if we did like a separate mode in Nemesis to make it stand out? And that is where we see the first iteration of Mercenaries.
Mercenaries, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know where he got that idea?
No, where'd he get it from?
So he got the idea to implement mercenaries from the movie Running Man.
Really, with what's
Arnold.
Arnold? Yeah, Arnold. Really?
Yeah. So last time we had Back to the Future
Back to the
2.
Future.
Now we've
Yeah.
got Running Man. And just that kind of everybody's out to get you type mentality of Running Man. He's like, what if
Yeah.
we put that in a video game? What if we had these side characters running around trying to kill as many zombies as possible, as fast as possible?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of a cool story that they're pulling from Western
Really?
media into this Japanese video game.
Really interesting. Didn't they do like a remake of Running Man also with
They did with
Glenn Powell?
Glenn Powell. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So man, we're just remakes after remake. We got remake Resident Evil 3, remake. Okay, all right.
Nothing is new.
Kudos for him, man, because I loved Mercenaries. I loved Mercenaries so much. Operation Mad Jackal. It was so cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it more than the game itself, but we can get into that at the end.
Well, they made it its own game, Mercenaries 3D on the 3DS.
Yes, yes. And then they incorporated it on Resident Evil 4 too as well, the Mercenaries mode. I think.
Yeah, I think that's brought back for.
Because I remember I was being hunk in Resident Evil 4, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill everybody with hunk." So I remember doing that. Okay, interesting. Wow, Running Man and Back to the Future. All right, they give them credit for creating epic aspects of our video games that we enjoy here. But let's dive into this game. Let's dive into the story mode of this game here. Again, spoilers ahead for those that haven't played Resident Evil 3 Nemesis and Resident Evil 3 the remake. Again, take a pause if you really want to play this game and follow along with us. Then pause, play the game, and then come back, and then we'll talk all things. But you've been warned again. Spoilers ahead. I feel like I need to start making this like a pre-recorded video where it's like spoilers ahead because we're gonna be talking about spoilers. But here we are. So let's do it.
I forgot to mention that this game shipped in 1999. This is 1 year after Resident Evil 2 came out.
Really?
Yeah, it shipped in August. I think August in Japan, and then it delayed a little bit for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But I think it was March, like maybe a couple months later. So, yeah, the quick turn from Resident Evil 2 to Resident Evil 3.
What came out in the September? Oh, it was Dino Crisis. Dino Crisis came out afterwards, and then 3 came out. Okay, yeah.
And one more bit of trivia.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 3 was supposed to be the end of the series because they were worried about all these kind of spin-offs that were happening, like Dino Crisis and Onimura.
Onishimura or something?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So they were like developing all these kind of spin-offs with the same technology, same type of premise.
Yeah.
And they were worried about like muddying the water, like distilling down what made it great.
Yeah.
Or watering down what made it great.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was supposed to be the end.
Really?
They were not happy about it, so they kept going. We'll get into it next time, but yeah, this was.
I can actually see that because with the ending of this one, but okay, but yeah, definitely we'll get into that one for sure. So Resident Evil 3. Let's get into it here. So this game, like you said earlier, it takes place, a day before the events of Resident Evil 2. Actually, the beginning talks about September 23rd, roughly around September 23rd to September 27th. The intro, we have like a montage video, I guess, of like how first of all, when you first start up the game, it starts off with like a montage of like the whole game. So like it shows like all the cutscenes of like all the like the game. I never understood that because I'm like, you're kind of ruining the whole game, like I guess, but whatever. I guess people like that because people like to know what you're gonna get yourself into. But whatever, it just
show you Nemesis right there in the intro.
Yeah, right at the bat. So I was like, okay, I guess we know what we're playing here. But yeah, in the storyline, it takes place again September 23rd through the 27th. The beginning, you have Jill narrating in the original one, going September 28th, nighttime or daytime, whatever. He's like, so she's doing this whole little monologue thing where like she's reading pretty much the text that we're seeing here, which is cool. In the remake, it's like a live action intro, which is
I love that. That live action intro is so good.
I don't know if I was iffy about that, to be honest, because I was like, I'm used to why use live action. I understand live action, but like you have the RE engine, you can make it like really cool looking. You don't have to settle for live action actors and stuff. It worked. It got the point across, but I was just like, okay, and then we go straight into like the realistic kind of form of the RE engine. Okay,
to me, it was the fully realized vision that they wanted to get to in RE2 was that they could not fit the live action captures.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Into the game because they didn't have enough storage. And so it's kind of cool to like see that come full circle to have them do. I mean, they should have really just done all live action because they have the face capture for these actors that are playing.
Yeah, for
Carlos
sure.
and Jill.
Chill.
It
Yeah.
would have been cool to have them do live action cutscenes, but
Yeah.
the RE engine sings, and
Oh,
I
for
no
sure.
complaints, no
Oh yeah,
complaints.
100% agree. One thing that I do miss about as we go later on in the series is and the remakes don't do this, but it's a little thing that I like is whenever you push start, it goes Resident
Yeah,
Evil. Like
yeah,
I miss that voice. Like when you do like when you play the remake, it just little music chime or something and just starts. I'm like, man, where's that voice? It goes
yeah,
Resident. I think Resident Evil 4 does it, and 5, and I think 6, and then after that, it just they get away from that. I'm just like, oh man, I miss that creepy little Resident Evil
yeah.
outbreak, and I was like, oh man, it was so cool. But that's my little gripe on that. I'm like, man. But yeah, so we start off here. The city's going into chaos. Zombies are invading, and if we played the second one, we know why, because of the rats that got infected with the T
Yep.
virus and started infecting everybody here. And so we have this whole city going into chaos, cops being overrun, special ops being overrun, and we descend into the madness of Raccoon City. In the original one, you just have this crazy epic 90s action shot where Jill just dives out of a burning building and comes out, and you're like, whoa, what's going on? And then you're right in it. You're starting off. You're right into the city streets, and Jill's like, I gotta get out of the city.
Yeah.
And so we have this whole sequence of going through Raccoon City, which, man, I wish this was what Resident Evil 2 was. I really
Yeah.
wish this is like this whole like section was. I was just giddy the whole time because I'm like, I'm going through Raccoon City. I'm going, this is so cool. Going through all these areas, less puzzles, which I enjoyed because I'm like, okay, if you have puzzles in the city, like really, like come on,
Yeah.
like don't. They included 1 or 2 puzzles here and there, which is okay, whatever. But they didn't oversaturate it with puzzles where like you can't go through this door because you need the spade key to enter the boutique store. Like what? Why?
Yeah.
What? So I enjoyed this moment. I enjoyed this whole thing. With the remake, it had this whole like first person sequence, like nightmare sequence,
Yeah.
where I was just like, why? Why do we have this? Like, I don't understand. This was one of my things where I was like, I didn't like this. Like this whole intro sequence where she's in the bathroom and then she's like turning into a zombie and then she like she's gonna shoot herself or something I don't know what was going on. And then I was like, okay, and she wakes up from the nightmare. But then again, we're still in first person mode now, walking through her apartment, and I was like,
Yeah.
why? Okay, I guess, sure, whatever. And then we have the introduction of Nemesis right away in this one, in the beginning of with the remake, which was an interesting take, I guess. But I
Yeah.
could see how they're like with the remake, they're like rushing it. You could tell they're rushing this whole thing because like they're just like, let's just get this one over with.
Yeah.
So the introduction of Mr. X, I mean Mr. X, Nemesis, which looks like Mr. X. So I'm
Yep.
like, okay, you guys are trying too
Almost
hard.
exactly the same.
Almost exactly the same. I'm just like, "Ugh, okay, you guys are trying to, capitalize on the whole Mr. X hype with Nemesis. I'm like, it's different. Nemesis is a different thing. So you have that, and Jill's being tossed around like a rag doll in this apartment, and she's like, I'm like, how are you not dead? Like you got like blown up, thrown around, pushed her everywhere. Like what's going on here? So this is the remake, and you exit out, and now you're into the streets of Raccoon City. I kind of like the original where she's diving through, burning building, doing a somersault
Yeah.
and doing some cool things here.
Man, it kind of bums me out to hear that you didn't like that intro sequence with like the nightmare and the first person, because to me, you start Resident Evil 3, the original, and you're like, I'm Jill Valentine and I'm a cop, and then it's like, here's a gun, and then they just go, here I go blasting again, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This one at least like sets up who she is, why she's there.
Yeah.
She's been struggling with this for a while. She's been doing the research. She's got her like, spaghetti wall that has all the photos pinned up and like all the strings and everything. She's trying to untangle this mess that is the T virus outbreak.
Yeah.
And if you are dedicating that much time to solving something that complex and dark, you're bound to have like struggle with that, right? Like there's a moral struggle there that needs to happen within the character.
Yeah.
And I think that they rushed it. Yes, Nemesis shows up very early, like way too early.
Yeah.
But I like the nightmare sequence because it's like you have to think to yourself, if I'm put in this situation, how do I react? And she is a planner, if nothing else, and she's a detective, right? Like this is kind of like almost Batman territory. She's got like the spaghetti wall. She's like thinking through advanced scenarios, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it gives her a little bit more depth than it does in the original. Besides, like, here I am in a mini skirt and some hooker boots, and here I go blasting again, right? Like they make her a real character, and I can appreciate that.
Oh, I like that outfit. I like Jill's outfit in the original. I'm like, all right, nothing
so
says sexy than
ridiculous.
shooting zombies in a skirt. None says
It's so
none says
ridiculous. She's a
power.
cop.
Yeah.
Like, what about that is professional? Come on.
Oh my gosh, that was hilarious. The reason I didn't like the Nightmare is because it was first person. I think it was third person. I think it would have been fine. Because I'm like, okay, you guys are trying to like cash in on Biohazard 7 and Village, making it first person, trying to like cash in, like, and where it's like Resident Evil 3 was a third person game. So it's like, I think if it was one, a cutscene, I would appreciate it more. Or two, if it was third person, I think I would have liked it more, whatever, Nightmare, and then you wake up and, yes, they introduced Nemesis a little too early, but I can see how they're trying to rush it. Because I will say the reason why, and this is a hot take, is I enjoyed a little bit of the cut stuff from the remake.
Okay.
Mainly because in the original, I love being in Raccoon City, but I was like, I'm in Raccoon City a little too long. Like there's I'm going back and forth way too much.
Lots of backtracking.
A lot of backtracking. And I was like, I liked it, but like there was too much of it. Like there was like, and so, and people listening like, well, you wanted Raccoon City, and then you can too much Raccoon City. Make up your minds, dude. And like, okay, yes, but like you don't oversaturate it way too much. Where I'm like, I went to uptown Raccoon City, now I'm in downtown Raccoon City. I gotta go back up to uptown. Now I gotta go down here. Now I gotta go to the Dead Factory. Now I gotta go to the hospital. Now I got so it's like, okay, yes, but like make the map a little smaller, I guess, or make it something. So I appreciated that with the remake, where it's like, all right, we're just gonna condense a little bit. You're here, there, and that's it. You're going a linear motion. So that's my hot take here, guys. Sorry, I enjoyed that about the remake, but it doesn't mean I enjoy a lot with the original, just running around Raccoon City, dodging zombies, blowing up barrels, because we have barrels now that we can blow up. And then some of the mechanics they introduced the whole now fast 180 turn. You have that whole 180 turn. I really enjoyed they introduced the whole like dodge mechanic. Now if you like aim and like do the action before they attack you, you do like a cool little dodge, or you can push them. I thought that was cool. I was like, all right, cool. We're getting into some new territory, some new things that we're getting into here. They introduced gunpowder. I don't think there was in the second one, original one, but in the third one, I think there introduced with the whole combination of gunpowder. I would assume so, because you had this whole tutorial booklet you had to go through, and I don't remember doing that in the second one, in the original.
Yeah.
So now we have gunpowder.
So I think they had gunpowder in the second one, but they didn't have the ones where you can combine the different types of ammo into like the crafting, really.
Got you.
You could make just basic ammo, but this one has a wider array of like combine this with this to get the freeze ammo, and this with this to get the exploding ammo.
Yeah.
I think those are like really the only two options, is like freeze and exploding.
Yeah, something like. But I like that it was like the more you create, the more powerful your potential of a weapon, your bullets can be. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. It adds a little mini RPG element where it's like you can level up if you keep crafting more bullets. I never did. I just left it. I just kept collecting the ammo, running around, conserving my ammo, because if Resident Evil 1 taught me something, is conserve your ammo and don't kill everything in sight. So there's that. So
especially in the original, you can play this entire Raccoon City portion of the game with maybe shooting 3 zombies, like. With that dodge mechanic, and if you run fast enough, you don't have to fight. You don't even have to fight the Nemesis. You just run away and get into a door, and then you're safe. That's it.
Pretty much it, and just move on. Just keep going forward. And
that's right.
With the exception of like some boss fights, that's it. Like you don't have to. And then even then, you could just like line them up in a barrel, just shoot one bullet, and blows everything up, and you're done. And that's it. So save your ammo there. So no need of gunpowder, which is cool. I'm glad they introduced that, but I was like. That's like the least thing. That was like the least of my worries in this game. I'm like, I don't need to get this gunpowder. I was like, if I found gunpowder, I would leave it. We're still back with the same, menu system as in 2. Again, kind of like the anime 2D thing. I do like. I don't remember in the second one, but the map system. Now you can see where you're at in the map. I don't know if in the second one, I don't think you could. It just showed like the highlight of where you're at. Section. And this one, it actually pinpoints where you're at, which I was like, all right, cool, because this map is huge. Raccoon City is pretty big. You're going around. You're going everywhere, uptown, downtown. You go to the hospital, you go to the the gas station, you go to all these places. So I'm thankful for that map, because I was able to find out where I'm at, where I got to go, and it would highlight where you got to go, like you got to meet gear or whatever. So it was cool. So we're in the city a day before. Everything's going to chaos. Mr. Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield have not entered the city yet. They're out. They're on their way. So we're dealing with Jill here. Now we have Jill. I really like that we're back with Jill again. Because I really enjoy Jill, especially in this one, and so I like being her, being this this super badass character that's going around. I'm Stars, whatever. I'm here to handle things, but I'm also trying to get out the city. I liked in the remake they fleshed it out more of like I'm struggling, I'm trying to get out more. I enjoy that. I think it's funny because like in the remake when you find the dead cop and you get like take his gun, it's like all of a sudden you're like decked out in like gloves and like the holster. I'm like, where'd you get all that from? Where did that come from? Okay, cool. I guess we're with that. We're going with that. Okay, cool. So that I think that was pretty funny. We have a couple new characters that were introduced here, but before we get into the new characters in the original one and in this one, we meet was it Brad? I think it was Brad from the original Stars. Remember Brad saying, "Hey, we got to get out of here. He's hunting us," and you're like, "Who's hunting you? What's going on?" In the original one, you meet him, and it's like we got to get to the we make a revisit of the Raccoon City Police Department in the original. One. We're back in here before we have Leon enter this area. And we have our first decision to make. Again, the Resident Evil 3, the original, introduced live action decisions now. Now we have to make some decisions on the fly, and you're timed because you have to be quick about it. So we're here where we enter the Raccoon City Department area and, police department area, and we meet the Nemesis for the first time. We have our iconic Stars. You hear him, with Stars. And so you have a choice. We either stay and fight the Nemesis or we run into the police department. Both actions, at first I thought like these actions affected the ending of the game, but in reality, it's towards the end when you make the final two decisions. That's what affects the ending of the game. This one, I was like, I don't know what to do. So my first run through when I played it, I ran into the police department. I'm like, I'm not finding this thing. I don't want to. I ran inside. I ran in. The only difference is if you stay and fight the Nemesis, you get Brad's key card, Stars card, so you don't have to go and find yours. You just have yours, and you can go straight up to the, get your key card and go straight into it, and you can pretty much speed run the police department. And so I didn't do that the first time. I had to go find my card and then go get the card reader and then go upstairs. But it was cool. We're back in police department. We're back into the police department, and we're seeing familiar areas. The music's still the same from the second one, so that was pretty cool. Except it's a bit more emptier. There's not as much going on there. Which now I was confused because you do meet Marvin, but he's like in that room already, and he's like hurt. But in the second one, he's like in that first room where like it has all the parties like area, the desk and everything. So I'm wondering, was that a continuity error, or is that like where he's hurt and then he like manages? I like to think he managed to crawl his way into the other room when Leon first meets him.
Yeah, it's more clear in the remake. He is backing up. He gets attacked. He kind of gets bit on a little bit. Yeah, but he ends up shooting the zombie, and then he like addresses you. He like says to run or whatever.
Yeah.
But like he's good enough. He kind of scrambles up to his feet and then runs inside.
Yeah.
And so it's a little better. Do you even meet him in the original?
No, in the original one, you just see him on the ground. He's like laying down, like you think he's dead, but like when you go and observe him, it says like, oh, he's been badly wounded by the zombies. Okay. But my question is, it's like he's in that one office room that you find him in Resident Evil 2 later on. Yeah. When you go back into the room and he's already turned into a zombie. He's in that one office area. In this one, he's already in that office area. So I'm like, does he crawl back outside and then he meets you and then he crawls back inside? So like it was some continuity. It was a little nipping. It might be some continuity.
When you meet him in Resident Evil 2, he's not a zombie yet. He gets okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, he's like laying down in front of those lockers and like the desk, and then you see him and he's like, "Oh, sorry, newbie, whatever," and he's like, "Go, get out of here." You get out. And then when you go back inside the room again in Resident Evil 2, he's in that office area and he's turned into the zombie.
That's right.
In Resident Evil 3, he's already in that office area. So I'm like, is he already going to turn, or is he? What's going on? So
yeah, I think it's a little better in the remake. They like adjusted that timeline. You see him outside instead of inside.
Yes,
I got it,
which is pretty cool.
You did not mention before we get into the to the RPD office. When you are running around Raccoon City in the remake, you meet the gun shop owner from Resident Evil 2.
You do in the remake.
In the remake, you meet him in the you like can run through his gun store and you meet him, and she's like, "Come on, you got to like come with us."
Yes.
He's like, "No, I got some stuff to take care of," and you can hear like his daughter in the background, which is like really dark. But I mean, I love that. Like seeing these characters pop up like one after another. It's like, oh yeah, that's cool. It's cool to see them again.
Yep. In the original one, you don't meet the gun owner at all. You see a note from him. You
Yeah.
read a note from him, but you don't meet the gun owner. But I liked in the original, in the remake, yeah, you meet the gun owner, and he's like, "Jill, what are you doing?" He's like, "We got to get out of here." And he's like,
Yeah.
you know, and he's like, "No, I got to take care of things. Just take my keys from the alleyway." And you
Yep.
go, and I'm just like, "Oh snap! Okay, here we go. Here comes the sad story with two."
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That was really cool, and I had the continuity of the first and second one, so I'm glad they connected there. But yeah, in the original one, you don't meet them. You just go straight to RPD. You have your little life choice you have to make, and then you get, I believe you have to get an item from there. You're getting something from the STARS room, and then when you leave, you hear a radio recording, and you hear Carlos say,
Yeah.
"Hey, we're overrun," but you don't know it's Carlos, but you're like, "We're overrun," blah blah blah, and you're like, "Okay, what's that?" You leave, you go back outside, some more running around Raccoon City, some more alleyways, walking. Now this is the part that I was like I was more terrified about this part than I was in the remake, is when you have the Nemesis chasing you. If you don't kill him, he chases you around. And I was like, oh man, if you escape him in the original one, you go to the next room and you're in that area, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go down an alleyway or whatever. But I'm like, if this camera changes, you're gonna hear the door open and you hear the music kick in, and you're like, oh great, now I have to run. So I was terrified because I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna run. I'm just gonna run. And as soon as, lo and behold, you run down an alleyway, the camera turns different angle, and you hear stars.
Yeah.
You have that like 80s, like, you know, like, or the 90s, you know, trombone. You know, chasing. And I'm like, oh great. And you just like see him running towards you, and like that's the scariest thing ever. I'm just like, oh no. And like he's relentless. He's just like Mr. X. He doesn't leave you alone.
You encounter him and have to deal with him far more often in the original. Like,
yes,
it's like every 5 minutes, man.
Yeah, and got a little bit of annoying because I've died like 2 times because of him, because he just come and chase after me, and I'm just like, oh jeez. And he's like, stars, and then he does this little tentacle thing, whips you and grabs you back, and I'm just like, oh, come on, man, I'm just trying to get to the hospital. I don't need time for this, you know. And so yeah, we deal with him. In the remake, yeah, you deal with him a lot too, and it's kind of frightening too because you see him running towards you, or sometimes he got annoying a little bit because it's like you be away from him and you hear like this little whooshing sound. You see him just jump in front of you. I'm just like, I'm like, really? Like, okay, sure, whatever. So we're dealing with that here. We have we have this new creature in the original, and they brought in the remake, and they look like the Chimera ants from the first one. Like these weird. Those things were, oh man,
they're terrible. They cling to the ceilings.
Yes, they cling to the ceiling. They were so annoying. And I will say in the remake, that whole sequence where like you get infected with a parasite, and you got to run. I'm like, how do I cure myself? How do I do that? But like you just got to go through the whole map. But it was so annoying because it's like the screen's getting all like jumbled up. You can't see anything. You turn on one of the fuses, and then there's another like 3 of them. I'm just like, this sequence is lame. This is
horrible.
Stupid.
That might be one of my least favorite enemies in this one.
It was, and original and remake. I didn't like it. So I'm like, what the heck are these things? These things are so annoying. So we had to deal with those. So I didn't like it. I was like, okay, whatever. But as we go through the city, we are introduced to the the USBCS, I think that's what they're called, the special ops. That, you know, we meet Carlos and company, Carlos, Nikolai, and Mikhail. They were sent to Raccoon City to save the survivors, or so we think. But Carlos is, you know, like, we're here to save survivors. You meet Jill. Jill's like, first of all, Carlos needs to chill out with this whole, like, you know, trying to rizz her up in like a
he's
zombie
real thick.
He's like, you know, I think there's like a scene in the original one where like you meet he says something where it's like, you know, I have that effect with the hot mamas, or and I was just like, what the, like, Carlos, relax, my guy, relax.
Yeah.
In the remake, he still kind of has that sway a little bit, but it's not as like super strong as it was in the original one. For sure.
I think once they pivot away from him like hitting on Jill so relentlessly, he's got some great lines, man. Like, he's like slouched up against the building, and she runs up, oh my god, Carlos, and he's like, I'm not dead. This hero thing is harder than it looks. Like, and I'm like, okay, I got it. Like, he's got a sense of humor. My thing was also, when you first meet him, he's got more of a thick accent. He sounds kind of like the Taco Bell Chihuahua dog at first, and I'm like, I don't know if I can deal with this. And then in the game, like, his accent
goes away.
it's gone. Yeah,
It goes away. He's like full American. That's
Which
what
I
happens
think is
when you
great.
spend so much time. Yeah, spending all that time in Raccoon City just changes your accent, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, you meet him, and then he tells you, "Hey, we're holed up on this little like subway train station in the original one and in the remake.
Yep.
In the original one, it's just them. It's just the three of them. In the remake, you see like more survivors in the subway station,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. But they say, we have this little puzzle now we have to do with the train. In the original, we have to get like a fuse, we have to get the oil additive, we have to get some like cable, which if you're, like me and like exploring everything, you can kind of find all that stuff on your way over there already before you have to do any of that stuff. So I got all that stuff taken care of. We have to make our way. There's some choices here. You can either A, go to the gas station first or go to like the post office first or the restaurant first. Both have different outcomes. I think if you go to like the restaurant first, you'll meet like Nikolai elsewhere. Like it changes like kind of dynamic. It doesn't change the ending or the storyline. It just changes like your interactions with certain people.
Yeah.
But if you go to the restaurant, you meet Nemesis again. You got to make another choice. Are you hiding in the kitchen? Or are you gonna do something else? Or are you gonna attack it or whatever? So you do that. If you go to the post office again, Nemesis is there. You either hide or you jump out the window. I chose to hide in both instances. And then you just kind of have to get out of there quickly because I think you stun Nemesis and you have to just get out of there.
Sure.
And then you have this other line you said, when Carlos is like laying down, this is the scene where you get to the gas station and you have to like get the, it was like this puzzle with the oil, you have to like change the oil to make it into an additive or something. And there's like this weird puzzle that I was just like, it's like the letter puzzle where like the letters light up. You have to like click the buttons to like make sure it matches.
Like A, B, C, D, and you have to light them all up. And it's like one where you press one, it'll either turn them on or off.
Yeah. I didn't like that. I was just like, why does a gas station have this puzzle? This makes no sense. But
it's my second least favorite puzzle. We'll get to my least favorite.
I wonder if it's mine too, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we do that puzzle, and then the zombies are coming. We've attracted the zombies in this gas station. Carlos is like, let me do this hero thing for once or something like that, and he goes out.
Yeah.
You finish the puzzle, you go, and then you realize that the gas station's actually going to blow up because there's some cables loose and it sparks and causes some fuse. So you leave. You both run out. And then the gas station explodes, and I wrote this down because this was hilarious. So after it blows up, you guys get up. Carlos is like, ow, my ears are ringing. He's like, we should be deaf by now. I was like, what the heck? I go, what kind of line is that?
Oh, man. I love it.
I just had to write that down because I was like, oh, my gosh, Carlos, bro, really?
Can I, before they even go into the gas station, parked outside, I thought this was so cool. In the original, it looks like there's like a DeLorean parked outside the gas station with like an American flag draped across it. And I was like, man, what like a cool image to put in a 1999 video game.
Yeah.
It was such a weird thing. But I found it so striking. Like you're running into this abandoned gas station. Something's gone terribly wrong.
Yep.
And just like, that's what the Japanese thought about. Like, this is how like Midtown America would look.
Yep.
I thought that was really interesting.
I'd never noticed that. I do know that there was a flag. I saw a flag down, but I didn't notice if it was a DeLorean. I just kind of
it looked like a DeLorean. It was at least shaped like a DeLorean. It could have been just the pixels back in the day, but
I mean, they got Back to the Future idea in too, so maybe hey, let's do a little Easter egg here. So we do that. We escape. We get the train running. In the remake, you have to do this weird like train puzzle where you have to like direct like the lines to like make it go to where it needs to go.
Yeah,
I was just like, okay, I guess sure, we'll go with that. Whatever. I wasn't a big fan of that, but at least it was more believable because it's like more of like a system you have to create rather than just like pushing A, B, and C and D to get like this, you know, the oil at it, whatever. So we do that. We unlock the subway station. In the remake, you have to be like, you sacrifice yourself saying, hey, it's after me. It's not after you guys. So you guys go on ahead and you go to the sewer area where we meet these weird looking like piranha things. They're called the gammas.
Yeah.
I didn't care for them. I was like, what is this?
They did zero damage. They're just annoying.
They really are annoying. And you just got to kill them with fire. The fire they just die. So I was just like, this part was lame. And then like apparently like you read some backstory, but it's like they had a secret laboratory there. They were creating the gammas and they were like getting them professionally done, but they wanted to get rid of the department. And they're like, no, not some scientist was like, these are my babies. I was just like, all right, well, this is relevant. In the in the original one, you start up the train and you make it, and then the Nemesis attacks the train, and you're like, oh snap! We have the death of Mikhail. I think his name is Mikhail. Yeah. He sacrifices himself, kills. Nemesis kills him, and you have a choice now. You have another live action. live action, live event action, I guess you can call it.
Quick time event.
Quick time event, yeah. You have a QTE. Are we jumping out this train or are we using an emergency brake? Again, this has no relevance to the story. If you jump out, you end up in this one room. If you do the emergency brake, you're in the front courtyard of the clock tower. Because we realized that we got to make it to the clock tower because if we ring the bell, help is going to come. So we're like, all right, cool. Say less. Let's go to the clock tower. So we get to this clock tower. I decided my first run through, I jumped out. I jumped out of the window, and it's funny because Carlos just stays there, and he's like, no! And I'm like, oh, I was like, great, I just killed Carlos. I ended up killing off Carlos, whatever. But he comes back, guys. Don't worry, he comes back. So we're in the clock tower now. We have the resurgence of the Hunters. Hunters are back in the original one. We have them in the remake, and I don't like how they look in the remake, to be honest.
They look like, what are those... Not Balrog. What's the one from Star Wars? The
the Rancors.
The Rancors. They look like little mini Rancors.
They do. Yeah, they look mini Rancors with like their heads would look like panel. I was like, what? What are these Hunters? And these was like they don't look anything like it. I didn't like them.
I got a kick out of that. They look like mini Rancors, and I thought that was so funny.
I'm like, great. We're in Star Wars now. We're in Star Wars universe. Yeah, I didn't like the remake version. In the original ones, they're different colored and they look kind of a bit more menacing.
Yeah.
Again, they still kind of move like the Hunters, but we have them back again. So I'm like, cool. No lickers. We have no lickers in this one. So that was a Resident Evil 2 thing, I guess. Now we have the Hunters are back here, menacing here. In this clock tower, we have our puzzle here that we have to do, which was the music box puzzle. You're running around, doing some things here and there, getting keys, opening up doors, doing some puzzles. Again, kind of a little bit like you got like a taste of like a mini mansion kind of setting because you're kind of doing these things, but you have to go unlock the top tower and then turn on the music and then the bell starts to ring. Now this puzzle, I was beating myself up for because I'm like, how dare I call myself a musician and I cannot figure out this puzzle because I was like, I don't get it. How am I supposed to like match it up? And I was like,
down, down, up, up, down, down.
Yeah. I was just like, oh, idiot. If you listen to the tone, you could tell which one's off key. And I was just like, I'm dumb, bro. Like I play electric guitar and I can't even figure what is up with this. So figure that out. I was like, whatever. You have to again. And then I was like, cool. We get the gear right off the bat because you got to put in the gear. But no, you got to combine it with another gear. Put it. I was just like, oh, great. Okay, whatever. We ring the bell. Helicopter's on the way. We come back down the stairs and we meet up with the Nemesis again. He comes and finds us again, and we have another QTE. Are we blinding him with light, or are we going to shock him with water? There's like water puddles and like cables there. You can shock him.
Yep.
If you shock him, you just stun him for a little bit, and then you leave. If you blind him, you push him off. Well, I'm like, dang, Jill, you're super strong. First of all, Jill's super strong to like push off a Nemesis, but like she can't move that little bell thing that's blocking the doorway. Like you need Carlos to do that. So I was just like, okay, sure, whatever. But this is where Jill gets infected. She's infected, and same thing with the remake. Jill gets infected by the Nemesis, which when you fight the Nemesis, I think you fight him. I might be getting ahead of myself, but you fight him in the second form when you're like that big plaza area and he's like running around.
Yep.
I like that fight. I thought that fight scene was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You kind of have to like through the mines and blow him off and come down. I think the Nemesis, his second form and his like other forms were very menacing in the remake for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was so cool. In the original, I think the first time you meet the Nemesis was menacing. His second form is okay, I guess. He's got like the weird like stuff coming out of him. He's got the tentacles. But I thought the second one in the remake, I thought it was more menacing because he's like this big, huge creature, and I'm just like, oh crap, this thing looks pretty creepy. I don't know what to do with this. And so you fight him, and you get infected, and now we switch over to Carlos. Now you got to. But
we do have a great moment, both in the original and the remake. The remake, you don't go up and do that big thing at the clock tower. Like you never ring the bell in the clock tower in the remake. Yeah, but you get shot at. He's still shooting the bazooka at you. Yeah, and in both the original and the remake, you get this great quip where they're kind of holding up the mirror to the franchise, like how ridiculous this all is. Yeah. Where Jill is like, okay, so I guess he is shooting weapons now. Like, and I love that. I think that's so great. And we have another one of those moments coming up that I really want to hit on that I thought was just like so good.
All right, stop me when we get to that part. Because I remember, when you in the original when Nemesis comes out with the bazooka, I was like, really a bazooka?
Yeah.
Like he was already hard enough. Like now you got to throw in a bazooka. Like okay, but it's funny though is that like he sometimes like if zombies get in the way, like he'll kill them off. So I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, thank you so much for killing these zombies and getting in the way here. But now we have to deal with Jill's hurt. She's infected. We got to find a vaccine. Apparently there's a vaccine now. In the original one, you're Carlos, you go through the clock tower, you exit, you go to the hospital, and you find out that you can make a vaccine. You go through all this hospital sequence, which is pretty cool. And then, it's pretty short. You come back, you get the vaccine, and you heal up Jill. In the remake, again, she's in the hospital. You take her to the hospital, and you got to go through this whole area. This is where we see the hunters for the first time.
Yep.
And you have to go through this whole section area. Puzzles, more puzzles in this hospital, I guess, because why not? You
Yeah.
gotta get an audio recording to play on the door so the door can open.
Okay, pause. That's
Okay.
that's the second event that I thought was
Okay.
so good. Because in
All right.
the original, you get the tape recorder, then you play it for the voice recognition door.
Yeah.
And this is in 1999 that they're doing this.
Okay.
And I was like, that's ridiculous. Come on, they're not going to have voice recognition doors in 1999.
Yeah.
And then in the remake, you get the voice recorder, you hold it up, it's like Dr. Brad or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Dr. Bard.
Bard or something. Brad something.
I think it's Bard.
Yeah.
He plays it, and then he goes like, that's some sci-fi shit. And I think that's so good. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Like Carlos, he looks and behaves very differently in the remake, and I think that they toned him down in some aspects, like I don't know, unwanted advances against Jill.
Yeah.
But they ratcheted it up, like all his other like just calling out the ridiculousness of the scenario, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I enjoyed being Carlos. Carlos was really cool. It's in the original and in the remake. I thought it was cool. Mainly in the original because I'm like, cool, I get the machine gun. I get the, the M4, whatever.
Yeah.
I get to use it. But it's like, it doesn't have ammo. It has like a percentage. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. Okay. And then in the remake, again, you're Carlos as well. You have this weird sequence in the remake, which I didn't like. And it's like that whole like horde mode where you're going to have to hold off the zombies for a while. And then you
didn't like that?
I thought it was kind of, I was like, oh.
Dude, I thought Carlos's whole segment in the remake ripped so hard.
Really?
I was so into it. Like,
okay, the
hospital itself is atmospheric. You're running through like the blue emergency lights versus the red emergency lights. You're like, encountering new types of zombies that are dressed differently. They behave differently. They look different. And then you get to that part where it's like, hey, this is going to take me a minute. Like, hold these guys off. And you're in the atrium just like mowing down zombies. I love that, man. I thought that was so cool. I thought that his whole segment, and while it was like pared down a little bit from the original where you're running back and forth in the hospital, his remake section I thought was just so leaned in so hard to that action aspect of where Resident Evil has gone in the past decade or so. That I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Well, for sure. And you have some interactions, which I keep forgetting to say that as Jill, you meet Nikolai, and in the original one, Nikolai shoots somebody. You hear him like, no, wait, and he shoots him. You meet him, you're like, what's going on? He's like, oh, he was going to turn into a zombie, blah, blah. In the original, I think I liked it more in the remake, because in the remake, he's all hurt, and like the guy's hurt. He's like, oh, God, help me. And Nikolai comes, just bam, shoots him, and Jill's like, what are you doing? Whatever. He's like, oh, he was going to turn, I'm just saving us the trouble, whatever. I was like, this guy's shady, man. This guy's another. At first, I was like, this guy's a wannabe Wesker. I think he's trying to be too much like a Wesker, too much. I'm just like, oh, come on, man. But we meet him, and then as Carlos, again, you see him in the hospital in the original one. You see him, I believe, in the hospital, but like again, he kills another person. And which is funny because the person that he kills in the original one looks a lot like the guy in the remake. The name's Tyrell, I think, or something. I think it was him. The one's like, hold him off. That guy, he looked like him in the original one, so I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, so I guess they reused him again. But yeah, you see him, and then. It's funny because like there's like a puzzle where like you have to like do input a password, but to know what the password is, you have to look at an infomercial in the original. And I was like, okay, sure,
silly,
whatever, sure, we'll go with that. But you get the vaccine, you go back and you heal up Jill. Jill's like, what's going on, what's happening. This is the part where it jumps ahead now to the events after Resident Evil 2. So in the original Resident Evil 3. Jill says, October 1st, daytime. And you're like, oh, snap. She was out for like 2 days. So you have all the events happening in Resident Evil 2. Leon and Claire make it out the city, and they're doing their own thing, having weird conversations with Sherry, whatever.
Yep.
But now we're back to Jill. Let's see what happens, because we're always wondering, Leon and Claire left the city, but what happens to the city? Well, don't have no fear, because Resident Evil 3 is here to tell you what's going to happen to this Raccoon City here. So we're back as Jill. We're running around the hospital. In the remake, you got to go back down in the underground basement of the hospital because that's where Carlos went to go
get the vaccines.
Get the vaccines, but also you find out that there's a missile coming. They're going to blow up Raccoon City. In the original one, you wake up at the clock tower. You're like, all right, we have to go. You make it to the park. And you're in this Raccoon City Park, which I like the segment because it started raining in the segment. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. But then like it stops like right away, and you're like, oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess that was a cool short-lived moment. But we're in the park. We meet up with. We get another information. We get some information saying that the USBCS is actually there to take in the supervisors. Like, whoa, we're the supervisors. So now they're not here to save civilians. They're here to save the supervisors, the Umbrella Corporation people. And so you realize, the ulterior motives. Poor Carlos. Carlos is like, I thought we were here to save survivors. But, there's some ulterior motives for this crew. In this park area, you have this weird boss fight with the worm that kind of looks a little bit like a certain male private part.
Phallic.
Yeah, and I'm like,
phallic.
Yeah, I'm just like, what the heck is this? And so you have this weird boss fight with it. I thought this was unneeded. I think this was kind of lame. I was like, whatever, sure. But
if Resident Evil is a metaphor for the hubris of men, it's spot on. You have a woman
right here.
Shooting a giant phallic serpent right in the face.
In the face, blowing it up and stuff. And it's funny because like in the little cutscene, it looks like it's this huge monstrosity, and then when like you verse it, it's like this tiny little thing you're fighting. You're like, oh, okay, cool, sure. In the remake, you don't do that. You don't fight any worm. You just make it down to the underground basement where you realize there's this whole umbrella facility, the Nest 2. I guess that's what it's called. So I was like, oh. Okay, Nest 2, whatever, sure. We're back with the formula of, Resident Evil 2. In the original, you go into the Dead Factory. We're into this Dead Factory, an abandoned factory where Umbrella was operating. It was interesting because you read this little note there that says, telling security, hey, if there's any trespassers coming in here, because we're a Dead Factory, so it's abandoned, so you're going to have some people wanting to come in and check it out. Yeah. It's like, kill them on sight, or if they surrender, we can use them as the new guinea pigs. And I was like, oh snap, okay. Wow, we're dealing with this now. So we do that. We realize that Nikolai is evil. He's been bad in the Dead Factory. With the original one, you go through, you have to do these puzzles here, which comes up with this puzzle that I hated so much, and it's the steam puzzle. It's a puzzle where you gotta turn the handles, and you have to like. Terrible. That was terrible because I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. It was so lame. I had to look up this puzzle, guys. Sorry, because I was just like, I don't have time for this. I need to look up what's going on with this puzzle.
Yeah, you have to go around. You're like in a square, but you can't get to the areas that you need. You're switching the valves, and you have to run, clockwise around the far way.
Yep.
Hated it. Yeah, not fun.
It was lame. It was so dumb. And then you had this other steam puzzle that I call it, which was the one with the water, where you put the little water treatment, and you got to turn the handles down, and like you got to make the levels match up equal. I thought it was lame too. I'm like. Like if I turn this, I was like, I had to look that one up too. So I was like, both Steam puzzles were lame. I was like, dude, it was so dumb. I was like, this is I don't know why I'm doing this. What's going on here? But we do that, and we fight the Nemesis again. We find him in this little like contaminated area, whatever it was. But you find him. This one is where I died because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I guess I have to just keep blasting him. So I just kept blasting, but he kept hurting me. He got a little annoying because he would hit you and you'd go down and you're like so slow to get up. And as soon as you get up, he just hits you again. I'm just like, give me some time to recover or something, man. Give me some space or something.
Well, I think the idea is that you get him to hit the pipes that if you back up the pipes, then he hits the pipe, it sprays the acid on him or whatever.
Yes.
But the angle to get that to work is so precise.
Oh my god.
It never works. It never works.
I just had to blast him. I just kept blasting him. And then he finally went down. You get the key card, and you find out that there's a missile incoming. You're like, oh snap, what's going on? There's a missile. What's happening? Again in the remake, you go down and Nikolai's there, and he's like, I want to see the power of the stars. I need to get more information, data collection. You're like, okay. And you go down like this weird maze thing, and you have to like use the scissor lift and something. Like, I thought that part was kind of lame, but I was like, whatever. And then you find the vaccine, and then I believe Nikolai takes it, and he's like, "I'll tell you what, you fight the Nemesis, and I'll give you this. So I need more information." And you're like, "Okay, sure, whatever." And before you get to the Dead Factory in the original one, this is where it changes the ending of the game. Before you get to the Dead Factory, you're crossing this bridge, and Nemesis finds you there.
Yep.
You have another QTE. Either A, you jump off, or B, you push off the Nemesis. If you push off the Nemesis, as you go through the Dead Factory, you meet Nikolai, and Nikolai is killed by the Nemesis. The Nemesis comes and kills him and grabs him and chokes him, and you're like, "Oh, what happened?" And he dies. If you jump off the bridge and don't deal with the Nemesis, then Nikolai lives, and you have a sequence where he's talking to you on a helicopter.
Yeah.
And you have to like either negotiate with him or attack him.
Yeah, that's the one I had.
Yeah, so you jumped off the bridge when so I tried both ways. The first way is they say to do the second way, jump off the bridge is easier because you're already down in the first floor, so you already have access to it. If you push off the Nemesis, you have to go find a key to get to the first level basement. So you have to do some extra steps.
Okay.
But we do that, we find out there's a missile incoming. You get this little radar thing. So instead of a timer, now you have like this radar in the game that like shows like the little blip, and it's like how the missile's coming, so you how much time you have left. And you're
That's
like,
kind of cool.
Which I thought was cool, and I thought it was more menacing than an actual timer going on.
Yeah.
We do have time sequences. There's time sequences in the original one as Carlos and Jill. One, we get to escape the gas station. Another one, you have to escape the hospital because it's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
And so you have some time sequences. There's another time sequence also with when you fight the Nemesis in that little junk area where he has to hit the tubes and the acid comes out. There's a time sequence that was frustrating me so much because like the time sequence starts, but it's still like a cutscene, and you're like have Joe looking up and stuff, and the timer's going down. And I'm like, hurry up, let's go, come on, like I have to do this thing. So it's like shaved off like a minute off my time.
I'm it's like a 4-minute timer, and by the time it lets you take control, it's almost at 3.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, why? Come on, let me like at least start the timer afterwards. But depending on what you choose, when you get up to like the radio tower and you get the little like the motion sensor thing for the missile, if Nikolai is there, you can negotiate with him or you can shoot him down. He leaves, and Carlos comes in, and you're like, Carlos, he took the helicopter. We're doomed. And he's like, no, we're gonna get out of this. I feel it. We have to believe. And I was like, okay, sure, bro. Like now you want to be a hero. Sure. You don't want to hit on her anymore. You don't want to hit on her now. You want to be this hero. Okay, sure.
They're equals now. He's seeing her as an equal.
Oh yeah. Now they're both heroes. Now they're both in it. And so
that's right.
You go back down. You have to go back down, and you have this final encounter with the Nemesis. Same thing with the remake. You make your way. You have to do what Nikolai wants you to do, and you go down, and you have this final encounter with the boss. Which here is where I died a lot in the remake because I didn't know what to do.
It's a long fight.
It's a long fight, and I thought like, okay, use the railgun, which I thought that was cool, using the big railgun. But I'm like, my girl, this thing's gonna blow you away. Like, there's no way you stand your because like I like it. She like takes it, she swings it around, and
that
she
is like the most anime thing. The gun's like 3 times as long as she is. Just like boom.
Blast it, and then like it causes the ground to like break underneath her too. So she's like, I'm like, dude, I was like, okay, Jill, we're on something now here.
Yeah.
And then you got to like she puts it back, and you got to refuse the power.
Yep.
But this is where I kept dying because I'm like, okay, I ran to the power, started pushing it, and then it kept grabbing me and killing me. I'm like, well, how do I do this? And then it's like, oh, duh, there's these shiny red balls around, and you have to shoot it so it can stun it. I'm like, typical Resident Evil. Come on, bro, you should know this better. So I'm like, oh, duh. So I'm over here throwing grenade launchers at it.
Yeah, it's like they're kind of hidden on the side. Unless you like strafe to one side or the other, you would probably. It would not be easy to see those, at least.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, so I have to do this. In the original one, you just kind of have to just turn on the railgun and kind of run around, blast it, and have it get inside its line of sight. Mm-hmm. Blast it again. You have to do it twice. It does it the first time, and then if you do it again the second time, it'll kill it. Yeah. And boom, you kill it, and pretty easy. That one, you just kind of have to run around and kill the mutated Nemesis. Jill has this really cool line. So you have a last minute QTE in the original one. Is that you see the Nemesis, its blob is just coming, it's like, sliding its way towards you, and you have to choose. Do you kill it once and for all, or do you just leave and exit? And I'm over here like, nah, we're killing it. We're finishing the job.
Finish the job,
man. Like, you went through this whole hellscape. You're finishing this job now.
That's right.
And so when you do that, Jill says that little, epic line, ending line where she's like, you want stars? I'll give you stars, and just blam, blast it
Heck
with
yeah.
the gun, and she ends up leaving. And I was like, yeah, Jill, I love you, Jill. Way to do everything in a skirt, Jill. And so so she ends up doing that, and you end up leaving, and now you're like, okay, there's still no helicopter. You know what's going on. Now, again, the choices that you made, if Nikolai dies, the helicopter's there and Carlos takes it, and we're like, all right, let's get out of here. And you take the helicopter and you leave with Carlos, you know. And if you do the other ending, which I feel like that's the more canon ending, where you
Yeah.
jump off the bridge and Nikolai leaves, you have somebody that comes down to the helicopter and you're like, whoa, who's going on? What's happening? You get on the helicopter and you're like, and the guy's like, I couldn't leave you. And you're like, Jill's like, oh, it's you. And then you're like, what? But then you see it like the scene cuts to him and it's Barry. We have
Yeah.
Barry from the first one. He came back to
back.
save Jill. He's back. So he had Barry. So I'm like, this is more of the canon ending. The other one's like, you leave with Carlos, whatever. So this one, yeah, you have Barry comes and saves you, and you leave. And as you're leaving, you see the missile spy, and you know, Raccoon City is blown to smithereens, which is like a nuke. But I'm like, man, like, how did I was like, I don't feel like a helicopter would have gotten away in time for like how close it was to that nuke and everything coming. But it's it's Resident Evil. They got to live. These heroes got to live.
I love in the original. It's like, and the death toll was 100,000.
Yes, I was going to mention that.
That's like the population of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Like that's like nothing compared to a major metropolis.
Yep. I like is it's like a newscast, and it's like 100,000 are estimated in a total death. Umbrellas, you know, the police is investigating what's going on, blah blah blah. And you're like, okay. And it's like, and then at the end, I like the end. It's like, our thoughts and prayers are to those families and people that are Raccoon City. I'm like, okay, sure.
Thoughts and prayers, baby.
Thoughts and prayers. Yeah. Good luck. You know, we just blew up a whole city full of zombies. Thoughts and prayers to them. In the remake, you have this cool action shot where you stick the railgun inside of the mouth of Nemesis, and he's like, "This is the last time." She's like, "This is the last time," and blows him up. And it's cool. I forgot what happens to Nikolai. That's escaping my mind. I think he like escapes or. Someone?
Yeah, she sends Carlos to chase after Nikolai, and he gets away.
Okay, I think he gets away. I forgot, but it makes kind of sense because there's some other games that we see him again, so we'll revisit him as well. But yeah, blow up Nemesis. You and Carlos take the helicopter and you escape the city, and again, missile comes and blows up Raccoon City. And that's what happens to Raccoon City. So no more Raccoon City, guys. If you're wondering what happens to the city, it's blown up to smithereens. And, that's what happens. That concludes the city in itself. No more Umbrella, I guess. Which, when we play when we talk about the Umbrella Chronicles and Operation Raccoon City, they explain a little bit more of like the aftermath of what happened with Umbrella. But after all that, and you escape the city, that concludes Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, which I want to know why it's called Resident 3 Nemesis. Why does it have a subtitle? Why didn't you just name it 3? Like, it's not, it's not Resident Evil 2, Mr. X, or there's not Resident Evil 1, they don't have, this is like the only one that you have Code Veronica X. Yeah. So I'm wondering why they went with subtitles, but I mean, I like it.
It is the first with a subtitle, and I think it was to differentiate it because it was originally not supposed to be a mainline game.
Got you.
And so they wanted it, like, they were really torn between, like, is this a spinoff? Is this a canonical event? Where does this fall? And I don't think they ever really got good resolution on it.
Yeah.
But it set the standard for Village, Biohazard, Requiem, many of the future games.
Yep, for sure. Definitely agree. Which I'm wondering why the remake doesn't have it. Nemesis is just Resident Evil 3. I don't know what, but whatever. It's not a big deal. But yeah, Resident Evil 3. Great game. I really enjoyed playing this game a lot. I felt like the first time I played it again, before we were, doing our research and stuff, I felt like I rushed it a lot in the first one because I was like, oh, let's do everything. So second time I played it again, it was fun. I played the remake once. I could see the gripe of how they condensed a lot of things, but my hot take is I think they did a good job in condensing some things. They could have expanded some more stuff, but I actually enjoyed the remake. I really enjoyed the remake.
The stuff that they cut, I had always heard that, like, oh man, they cut out so much running around in Raccoon City. That's the best part.
Yeah.
But you are running through the set pieces look good in the third one.
Oh, for sure.
But like a lot of them are just generic buildings with a sign that says like "Eat at Moe's" or whatever, right? Like,
yeah,
they're kind of generic businesses and stuff. in the remake, you see a couple of businesses with big lit up neon signs, but they actually like have meaning, right?
Yeah.
Like the Charlie's Toys or whatever.
Oh yeah,
You're
yeah, yeah.
finding little Charlie toys
Yep,
everywhere. And
yep.
so it kind
That's
of
true.
makes sense canonically. Nemesis shoots the giant head off the building and it rolls down after you. Like
Yep.
that type of stuff is cool, and the city looks freaking gorgeous.
Oh
Like
yeah.
in both of them, it's very claustrophobic. It's very
Mm-hmm.
tight. They
Yes.
borrow a little bit from like The Last of Us in
Yeah.
the remake, where she's crawling underneath the fence and there's
Oh
zombies over the.
yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was the remake was very well done. I have
Oh
not
yeah.
a lot of complaints about the remake.
Oh, for sure. I don't have any. I really enjoy this remake. In fact, I think, you know how like in Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 1, 0, there's those moments of the game where it shined the most. Resident Evil 0, you had the train station. Resident Evil, 2, you had the kind of the beginning of the city.
Yep.
I think Resident Evil 3 shined throughout the whole game. I think, yeah, in the original one, I enjoyed being around in Raccoon City, and it was a little bit too long for sure, but I thought it was good. It wasn't like kind of like towards the end of the game, I wasn't like, oh man, the city was the best part of the game, because like the
Sure.
city was the main part of the game. You had some areas, you had like the hospital, you had the dead factory, you had some areas, some places you visit, but that still was like Raccoon City, so it was still
Yeah.
like it's itself. So I enjoyed that. I didn't in the remake. I wasn't too big on like the whole Underground Nest 2 thing. I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess whatever. I guess they couldn't. I don't know why they did the Dead Factory. I don't know why they went with the Dead Factory, because it's prominent. It's prominent in Operation Raccoon City, and it's prominent in Umbrella, Umbrella Chronicles. So why not bring it in? Because it was a big part of the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they went with Nest 2. I guess maybe trying to say that there was more laboratories in Raccoon City, I guess. But I thoroughly enjoyed this. I enjoyed the remake a lot, more than I thought I would, for sure. A lot of people were saying it's short. Yeah, I could see the recreation of like Nemesis being another Mr. X kind of type clone, but
Yeah.
I mean, in the original one, that was Mr. X. That Nemesis was the guy that was chasing after you, running after you,
Yeah.
chasing after you. So it was. In Resident Evil 2, you don't get Mr. X until your second playthrough. So it's like you don't even get him. In the third one, you get him right away. So I guess they took the cool factor of Mr. X and put him in the main, antagonist as in 3. Relentless, wants to kill stars. The stars. His famous one-line stars. Always coming after you. Has a bazooka, chasing after you. Morphs into crazy things. So I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. It was a good fresh, replay as well for the third one. Again, I don't remember a lot about this game, so it was very refreshing to see something. I felt like I was playing it for the first time new.
Yeah.
And played the remake first time ever. I haven't played it at all, so it was good. I liked it. Resident Evil 1 and 2, I mean, I've played those games to death a lot, so I was like, okay, I enjoyed the lore of it, but I was like, it's stuff that I've seen before. Now with 3, I was like, oh, this is newer stuff, so I thought it was great. Raccoon City was cool. And yeah, I mean, that's Resident Evil 3 right there. I mean, final thoughts for you before we get into the questions?
The remake would have been a hit regardless, just for them getting rid of the sound of Jill's high heels tippy tapping on the floor.
Oh,
I can only listen to that for so long, and
Yeah.
like her going tip tap 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 tap
Yeah,
tap as
yeah,
you run
yeah.
along just drove me nuts. So it
Yeah.
was great that they got rid of that. In the original, when you go into the police station and you have the desks, like she goes to that kind of the bullpen, and there's notes on all the desks from like Chris and Claire and Leon, and I'm like, man, that's so cool. And they did away with that in the remake. I wish that they would have kept that.
You could like see everyone. Yep.
But when you do go into the police station, you do it as you're as Carlos in the remake.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool to like go through and see how that stuff's set up before the events of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
Because you walk in, there's like people, hanging from the ceilings, there's dead bodies everywhere, and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You get to see that all unfold. And then the piece de resistance of all that is that stupid like shower puzzle in remake when you can't get past the steam.
Yeah.
Like Carlos causes that when he places the C4 on the wall and blows up the wall and he breaks the pipe. Like all that stuff is set up for Resident Evil 2. I really thought that was pretty neat. So
I thought that was great. Yeah, because I'm like, oh, so that's how that was and stuff like that. And I think you do verse lickers in that one, because you see a licker when you're going down the hallway
Yeah.
and you see like one of the things get pulled back and you're like, what is this? This is not no ordinary creature. I was like, so I don't know if you versed the lickers or at least you see them
In the remake?
in the remake. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I mean, if the comments below, you can let us know if we missed it, but I don't think there was. But you do see it like mentioned. But yeah, I thought that was cool. It was interesting because I was like, oh, as Carlos, you're going to the police department. You see how Brad dies because you see the Nemesis, and you're like, oh snap, okay. And so it was interesting how they did that. I liked it. I thought it was cool, but I thought it would be better as Jill because like you're stars. You're going back to your workplace, and stuff. So I thought that was good. The game, it was pretty short. I mean, I beat the original in 5 hours.
Yeah,
I
that's
beat it in
where I
5
was
hours,
at.
30 minutes. I did it in 3 saves, and I died 4 times. I was very, yeah. I feel like I'm either A, getting good at these games, or B, I'm like being more careful about this stuff because it's like I'm trying to dodge everything. So 4 times, I got a C ranking on the first playthrough. The remake, I died 3 times, and they were all from the stupid final Nemesis boss, which I kept getting died, so I didn't figure that out. I beat this game in 2 hours and 46 minutes.
Okay.
So I was kind of, again, it kind of tells how short the game was, and I was kind of speed throughing a lot through everything, so I'm like, kind of understand the gist of it. But I did it in 11 saves, so I beat this in 11 saves. So I was saving a lot in this game, in this one, in the remake for sure. In my second run through of the original one, I beat it in 3 hours, so I cut it down by a lot because I was just kind of I knew what to do now. I was like, all right, dude, go grab this, do this, do these choices, whatever. I got the A ranking, and yeah, that's where I got the Barry ending. The Barry comes and saves you. I like in the clock tower, by the way. I forgot to mention this, but there's like a dialogue where like Jill and Carlos are talking, and Carlos is like, I can't handle this. We can't get out of this. And then Jill just like slaps him, smacks him. And I was like, oh snap, okay. And he's like, get yourself together, man. We're gonna get through this. I was like, oh.
But it plays so good because I think it's either right before. I think it's right before that is when he's like, cheer up there, sweetheart. And he like strokes her cheek. I think that's a great like twist where she's like, no, I'm not soft like that. Come on.
Nah, yeah, I'm Jill Valentine. You don't know who I am. I'm Stars members. So yeah, great game. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I'm happy we got to play this one. I'm happy that we got a conclusion to the main line of Raccoon City arc. We still have a couple more games to talk about before we leave the Raccoon City incident, and then we dive deeper into more different games. But I enjoyed it. It was a good time. I'm glad we got to play it. I was gonna say the outfits for the original one.
Okay.
When you beat the game, you get the boutique key, and you go and you change your outfits. There's one outfit that I was like, "Oh snap, this is great, this is amazing," and that's the Regina outfit. You could be Regina from Dino Crisis, and I was like, "Oh, I'm Regina." You got the red hair and everything. And I was like, "Oh yeah, let's go, Regina." But I ended up choosing it because I'm like, Regina doesn't play in this game, so I chose the other one where you like have like the biker jacket on or something. I'll go with that one instead.
It's at least more appropriate than the mini skirt and high heels.
Yeah, so. I was like, yeah, let's make it more appropriate here. At least if I'm gonna be killing zombies, I better be like a biker looking girl than in a skirt that can rip so easily. And I don't know how you survive with that stuff. But yeah, that was my take. Anything else you want to add?
Nope, I didn't really keep stats, but it took me about probably 3.5, 345 on the original. And then I was probably squarely at I was probably at 330 for the remake.
Yeah.
So,
tell us about the questions here. Get us
favorite moment, favorite enemy, favorite weapon. Go.
Okay, here we go. So, favorite moment of the game. I enjoyed. There's a couple moments in the original one. I liked. My favorite moment was the slap when Jill slapped Carlos. I think that was fun. I think I had a good time with that one, and also like doing the. Actually, my favorite moment is not in the game, but was the mercenaries. I think my favorite moment was playing that because I had so much fun playing that, killing many zombies, getting my timer up. That was so much fun. That's my favorite moment here. My favorite weapon in the game was definitely I enjoyed that the machine gun you get the M4 that Carlos has. I thought that was so cool.
It's probably an M16 at this point, but
M16, but. Yeah, I thought that was cool. That was my favorite weapon to use because it's like just mowing down the zombies. That was pretty cool.
That one feels good.
Yes. They brought back the aim cheat again on this one. So now when you whip around, I was like, let's go. Welcome back, my old friend. So that was a good time. And then my favorite enemy in the original one was I got to go with Nemesis. Nemesis was very intimidating. Was very in there was very just like relentless. I enjoyed it a lot. Real quick with the remake, favorite moment was when what was my I like the favorite moment when I don't know why, but I like the subtle moments when like Carlos is like talking to Jill and he's like, "Oh, I won't leave you with the Carlos world" or something like that. I'm like, "All right, bro, seriously." And then Jill's like, "Get real, bro." Like, so I thought those moments were great. Um, Zombies in this game again did a great job of being menacing.
Yeah.
A little bit annoying in this one because they were just like everyone was like, "Oh, okay, we get it." And like there's moments where like if a zombie grabs you and you have to do like the quick time of it to get out of it, and
Yeah.
another zone comes you, like it does another like knocks you down to the ground. I thought that was really cool because I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's a cool little mechanic." So I think the zombies were my favorite part. Nemesis was kind of like, all right, Mr. X, so I'm kind of used to you a little bit. I'm still going with the zombies because it still use the same kind of models and same kind of sounds as the
Yeah.
second one, which I enjoyed a lot. So they brought it back. I thought it was good. And then my favorite weapon for this one was the grenade launcher. I think that thing was cool because you just like
Yeah.
punk, just like blowing things up,
It
and then
has
you could change.
such a great sound design, like that.
Right?
You can hear the tube go thunk, thunk,
Yeah,
thunk.
thunk, thunk,
I
yeah.
love that.
And I like how you can change different ammunition. So you can have like the mine one, shoot mines, it'll blow up. So I thought the grenade launcher was my favorite one. And then I think you could like upgrade your weapons in that one too. Like if you take down the Nemesis, like you'll drop items you can like upgrade. So I like the shotgun when you fully upgrade it, becomes the riot shotgun. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So those are my moments there. Travis, what about you? What we got for you?
Okay, so favorite moment. There's plenty to like, and I had a great moment in the remake where I was playing as Jill, kind of going downstairs to find Carlos in the basement of the hospital.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is always there, but there's a room that you don't necessarily have to go into.
Mm-hmm.
But when you walk through these shelves of medical supplies or whatever, there's a zombie that jumps out at you. And that thing got me so bad. Like I jumped out of my skin. That one is terrifying.
Okay.
And then I really like the anime Jill lifting that giant railgun, the electric railgun.
Yes.
That's so badass. And it is starting to really lean into the goofiness of Resident Evil that I have been craving out of this game.
Yes.
I also appreciated in the remake that Jill stands up for herself a little bit more with Carlos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like she's so passive in the original, and some of the stuff that Carlos says, like it could be played off as like witty banter. You could put like a laugh track to it and people would probably laugh at it.
Yeah.
But in the remake, she like actually tells him like, hey, screw off. Like, not interested. I'm here to work. I'm here to do a job. And Carlos tones back really fast in the remake.
Yeah.
Favorite enemy. I think in the original it's Nemesis. He's so cool. He's got a cool design. All his teeth are showing. Like he's got tubes everywhere. I think they like muddied his design in the remake a little bit. He looks very much more like a Mr. X from Resident Evil 2 or a different, another zombie.
Yeah.
In the remake, you see, what do they call them? Like white heads or something, white skins or something like that.
Oh, like in the hospital?
Yeah, it's like
you can like regenerate. Zombie. Yeah.
That one's kind of cool.
Those ones are interesting. Yeah.
And then I just like laugh my ass off with like the miniature. What do we call them again?
Oh, the hunters.
Yeah.
The miniature rancors. The
miniature rancors. I laugh my ass off because those things are so silly. If they were a foot taller, maybe they'd be more menacing. But like they just look like these little squatty bodies that just kind of like shuffle at you.
Yeah.
They're kind of ridiculous.
They were, for sure, definitely, yeah. The remake Nemesis in the beginning, I was like, why are you covering up? Like covered up his face to have like this like claw. I was like, what? Like we already know it's Nemesis. Like why are you gonna cover? Why are you trying to play it off like, oh, this is another Mr. X? Is this another? Like, come on, bro. We know what this is. Like, quit playing games. All right, you're thinking like we're brand new here, So, okay. So those are the questions. With all that being said, guys, that was that was Resident Evil 3. Let us know what you thought about the game. If you're playing with us, I know we missed a lot of things, but this is kind of a shorter game. Like you said in the beginning, it was kind of meant to be like a side quest kind of side story. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great closure to the events of Raccoon City before we get the spinoffs. So I think at the time being, it was great to see what happens. I love being back as Jill Valentine, because we got to be Chris, we got Leon, we had Claire, so it's like, all right, good to be back as Jill. and see what her conclusion was, her aftermath of what happened after the Spencer Mansion, how she was deemed crazy, how she's off the investigation, all that stuff. So it was really cool to see that. But yeah, guys, again, promotion time here. Go follow Operation Game Night Podcast. Great podcast. I got to be part of an episode earlier a couple weeks ago. We did a board game 20 questions, which was so much fun. It was great. We totally killed it, bro. Sorry, we killed it right there. But had a good time, guys. So you guys go check out that episode, please give them a follow if you want to know more content, get more board game content. They're expanding as well. They did some TV show content, some movie content. So they're expanding and ever growing. So please give them a follow, support them, grow their algorithm as well. And once you're done following them, you can give us a follow here at Games You Must Pod. Again, we're on all socials, X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you like to watch and listen to your podcast. You can give us a follow at Games You Must Pod. That is at Games You Must Pod, or send us an email at gamesyoumustpod@gmail.com. That is gamesyoumustpod@gmail.com. You can also find Games You Must Pod. That's a game. You can also find Operation Game Night Pod. You guys handle is Operation Game Night Podcast or Operation Game Night Pod. So Operation Game Night Podcast on all socials as well, X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you like to listen and watch all podcasts. You can find them as well. Give them a follow, like and subscribe to us as well. And guys, thank you so much for watching this. Travis, get us out of here, and looking forward to some more Resident Evil content.
This has been Press Any Button, where we played Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I have been Travis Smith from the Operation Game Night Podcast. He has been Vic Diaz from the Games EMOS Podcast. And we will see you next time with Press Any Button. We are out.
Nos vemos. A la próxima.